Today's a wonderful day as I'm about to review the Xvive V21 ECHOMAN analog delay. Enjoy! Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome back to the channel. As you heard in the intro, today is all about analog delay and specifically the ECHOMAN by Xvive. Xvive were super kind and sent this pedal out to me, so this is indeed a sponsored review. But man, as many others, I'm a big fan of analog delay, so I was super hyped for this and I hope you enjoy it. So before we start with the sound clips and talk about what my specific use cases for this pedal are, let's just go over some of the specs. The ECHOMAN is an all analog bucket brigade delay and its delay time goes up to 600 milliseconds. The layout of it is pretty simple. You have your time, your blend, your feedback and your modulation dial, and then you have a switch that changes the modulation from chorus to vibrato. Now the unique selling point for this particular pedal is that Xvive designed it in cooperation with Howard Davis, the creator of the original Deluxe Memory Man. So if you're into that classic sound but can't afford one of the vintage units, which are super expensive, then this might be your thing. This little thing is super heavy and sturdy. Like, the build quality is amazing. So maybe if you do own one of the vintage original units of the Deluxe Memory Man and you don't want to bring it to a show or rehearsal because you're afraid it might get damaged or stolen, this is a very, very good alternative. And yeah, the sound, it speaks for itself. You're about to hear that. Personally, I'm a big fan of analog delays in general and specifically that Memory Man-ish sound. So when I'm producing music, I tend to go for delay plugins that have that sound as an emulation. So not only is this very interesting for, players that want to put it on their pedal board, but also you could use this as a send effect for your DAW and have some real analog goodness in your mix. And this is pretty much what I'm going to use this for the most part. I'm going to talk later about this in the video where I set it up as an outboard effect in my DAW, and yeah, you let me know what you think about that. So going back to the controls real quick, you have up here your time knob, which goes up to 600 milliseconds of delay, like I said in the intro. This is the blend knob that goes from completely dry to 100% wet, which makes this again very interesting if you want to use it as an outboard effect. We have feedback down here. This could go into self-oscillation territory if you're into sound designy stuff. And then here is the modulation setting. Well, rather the modulation dial, like how much of it is in the delayed signal. And here your little switch that goes from either chorus to vibrato or back. The foot switch on here is also very sturdy and satisfying to click. I'm gonna hold it near the microphone now. Yeah, you can hear that. It's like I really enjoy like a good foot switch when you're on stage and you can feel that solo coming and then you just mash on the pedal and you're like good to go. Yeah, that's that's what I like. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the features of the pedal. It's a mono delay, so it has an in and an out, and up here goes the power supply. It can't be operated with a battery if that's important to you, but yeah. let's talk real quick about how to use this as an outboard effect, which, like I said, is probably how I will use it the most in the future. What you need in general to do this kind of stuff in your DAW is, well, you need an audio interface, obviously, but you need one that has additional outputs, not just 1 and 2 for your speakers, but, you know, rather a third, a fourth, or fifth, or sixth, depending on how many outboard units you want to use. If you decided on the output that you're going to take on your audio interface, you will then need to go into a reamp box. This is pretty much just to lower the line level that comes out of the interface to a more instrument level kind of signal, so you don't overload this. In my case, I'm using a Palmer reamp box. It's pretty basic. It has an in and an out, and well, you can then adjust the level a bit, but yeah, it did me good over the past, and works great. But you can take whatever reamp box you have. From the reamp box, you go then into the in of the pedal, and then out of the pedal you go back into your interface. Once you have that set up, I would recommend to go 100% wet on the blend knob, so you well, you dime it pretty much so that you only hear the delayed signal through the pedal, and you then blend that in with your guitar sound or your vocals, or yeah, whatever you're sending through this then. And then you pretty much just press record and record the delay signal as a separate like lane or track or whatever you want to call it, and you can then afterwards process it even more. So this allows you to, when you record guitars just through plugins, for example, to have an analog delay still with you. So you have this digital analog blend if you want. Yeah, and you're going to hear that now. I recorded through a couple of Neural DSP plugins, sent the audio signal then out to the pedal, recorded the pedal track, and finished. So in conclusion, the V21 ECHOMAN is an amazing echo pedal. If you're after, you know, that specific kind of analog delay sound, the Memory Man sound, and if you're okay with not having presets and tempo and, you know, a variety of modulation settings, there's still a certain magic to using these kind of pedals. They're more the set and forget kind of pedal, compared to something like, for example, a timeline where you can set a delay up for every song on your set list. For me personally, this is one of those devices where you just, you know, you sit down with your buddies in your rehearsal space and you just jam along and you come up with a cool sound and you record that jam, and then maybe in the future, if you have the delay, if you can recall the settings, you're going to record it like that. Something like this, where it's just, a pedal like this isn't about perfection. Like, the exact opposite. It is about imperfections. Not only the sound itself, because of the bucket-brigade chip and all that, but also you will never be able to, or maybe you will be, I don't know, but you won't be always be able to get the exact timing right on the millisecond, you know? This is more about feeling the sound, I would say. So I'm super thankful that Xvive sent this out to me, and of course you're allowed to take this review with a grain of salt because of that. But personally, yeah, this is gonna replace a couple of my plugin instances that I have running all the time for sure. Oh, I just remembered this, like one of the most quality of life things about buying this pedal in the box, there's a little Velcro strip. Like, how good is that? I wish every manufacturer would do that. So again, in conclusion, if you're after the bucket-brigade sound, or specifically the Deluxe Memory Man sound, well, here it is. It's amazing. It's very low noise. It sounds great. The modulation isn't too dramatic. It's sturdy, it's heavy. Yeah, you can probably smash a car window with this. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you in the next video and review. Thanks again, Xvive. This was awesome. I've been Chris, and that's that.